that's
I don't care, wherever you're comfortable.
fine. How can I help you today?
So I'm here to bring her back to school. You never got back to me on the on this stuff. So I'm here to tell you that your suspension is null and void. I'm not going through an appeals process because you guys messed up. So as far as I'm concerned, you need to take ownership for this here. We need to get my daughter back in school and move on. That's what we need to do. I'm not going to talk to Mr. Ziegler. I'm not going to talk to Mr. Fulton. I'm here to talk to you. You guys made the decision. You guys screwed up, and you guys need to take ownership, because what I'd like to do is, let me back up. Do you have an answer as to why the Commanders football player was maskless in the school?
Mr. Allen was here as part of the Washington football team's rollout. The Commanders. He was masked during the event, except for the brief time period where he did take his mask off to do a video.
So how do you fix this one? Now, I know it's not your school, but you got Broad Run students up there the same day, okay? Same day my daughter was suspended. These are all in the same week. Phyllis Randall, you got Julie Briskman there, you've got a whole bunch of other people. So I'm here to tell you that the suspension is just null and void, right? And you're gonna I need for you to accept that, because this is just absurd, hypocritical. She's a good student. She's done nothing wrong. So I need for you to understand where we're coming from and just accept it, and let's get her back in class.
I understand your frustration, and I understand that Angie is a good student, is a great student here and at the other school. And I would love for her to come back to school, but the policies require us that students wear masks.
So let me ask you a question. So you're a vice principal or assistant principal. Who advocate? You guys are for the kids, right?
Yes, sir.
I mean, I don't think anybody would be here if you weren't like all about kids.
It's much.
Right?
It's why I got into this profession. Absolutely, sir.
So let me ask you this then. So where is your allegiance? Is it to the kids or is it to Ziegler?
I'm following the school policy.
That's not the question. If you're here to protect the kids, will you protect the kids? Stand up for them. We're not looking for you to do anything crazy. We need somebody to advocate for these kids. Are you willing to do that?
I'm following the policy.
You sound like a broken record. Are you willing to advocate for the kids? That's what I need to understand.
I do advocate for the kids. I take my job very seriously.
How about taking it more seriously and advocating for my daughter? She's the only student in this school in AOL that is being treated like this. I can't speak for the people in Western Loudoun. I know they're dealing with their own thing. But she's the only student that's being treated this way. Can you not advocate for one student out of however many are in the school? Push back against Ziegler?
I understand your frustration, sir.
I don't know that you do. Because how many other parents are coming in with the same problem?
I can only speak to you about your daughter and your
Exactly.
situation.
So what is the answer? Don't defer to policy 8020 or 8210. What do we have besides the mask? Because you guys aren't giving us any options. Besides the mask, what else are we going to do to get my daughter back in school?
I would love for her to come back to school. I gave you information about a medical exemption. Those are the only two exemptions that are available.
They're not available because you guys rejected them flat out right out of the gate. It wasn't even 12 hours. I submitted the religious and the medical exemption. It wasn't even the full 12 hours by the time I submitted it that Mr. Flynn rejected. So my daughter could come in with both legs cut off or amputated and you guys would still reject it.
There is the process for the medical exemption, which I sent to you in an email that gets sent to the student health office. I don't know if you have filled that out or sent that in, but
I don't want to take it.
Okay.
See, now you're making me run through hoops. This should be null and void. This suspension is ridiculous, right? I mean, would you agree?
The suspension was put in place for a reason.
What's the reason?
The reason is that masks are required in schools, and those students who are not required to masks are not following the student code of conduct.
You look uncomfortable.
I'm not uncomfortable.
Why won't you advocate for my daughter? I'm not asking you to advocate for 1,000 kids. This is just one child that we want her back in school. Why don't you and I go to the school board meeting tonight and we'll just stand there together and tell Ziegler we're not taking it? Why can't we do that? I will advocate for you.
I understand that, sir.
I will. I would absolutely have no problem doing that, because right now these kids have nobody on their side. The only person my daughter has on her side besides me is her mother, who's also a teacher, who's also been vilified. The school system is surrounded by 12,000 employees or something, and not one of you will help? That's what I'm trying to understand. That's what I want. I need an advocate. I need somebody to help my daughter get back in school and say, you know what, we're not going to take this. I'm going to help this girl get educated, and I'll deal with the punishment. I will put up myself and protect her. I will shield her. I will work with her to get her in school. Why can't we do that?
Sir, I'm following my...
You're a sheep. You're following the orders, but I'm asking you to. See, being an advocate and protecting is not following the orders. We're not talking about mass murder here. We're talking about one student. That's all there is. There's nobody else in the school doing anything. It's just her. And she's just exercising her rights and her freedom. And what she needs is somebody who's an adult figure in the school to help support her, not go against her. And that's what I'm asking you for. I'm not asking you to be a sheep, and I apologize for calling you that, but we need somebody to help her. I can only do so much, and this is where we kind of defer to the school. You understand? I know it's policy. So, what is the suspension going to look like for her? Meaning, when we start filling out applications for college.
I don't know what that process looks like, to be honest with you.
You don't.
I don't know what is required on a college application. So I don't know if you have to, I don't know if a college application asks for that. I don't know. As far as
You don't know. How long have you been assistant principal here?
But I don't deal with I don't know if every college application asks if a student has been suspended from school.
Okay.
So I don't know that.
So how about you give her virtual learning? You guys are not giving me anything to work with here. Why don't you make her exclusively virtual learning except for AOL, and we can call it a day? Like, the mask is not an option, and you're not giving me anything else to go on. I want to work with you guys, but you don't want to work with us.
I understand that. After the school has suspended her, the appeal no longer lies with us. So the route for the appeal is to the Office of School Administration.
No, that's not, I don't accept that because it stems from here. And you have not given me answers, and I want answers as to why you can have a Commanders football player, who I don't fault by the way, walk around maskless. Why you have other students maskless. I'm asking you to defend my daughter against this policy. You can be on the right side of things, or you cannot be on the right side of things. I'm not asking you to commit Harry here. It's one kid.
I understand.
So you're not. So what you said before is you believe in advocating for kids, but you don't really. Is that right? Why will you not advocate for my daughter? Because Ziegler's more powerful than your commitment to kids? Is that it?
That's not what I said.
That's what I'm saying. Because we know where the policy came from.
I don't have anything to say that. I do support and advocate for kids, but I'm also following the policies that are put in place in Loudoun County Public Schools.
So Ziegler's ridiculous policy, people can wear a mask, that's okay. I mean, I don't have a problem with that. It's not a matter of who's wearing a mask and who's not. It's the right to be able to do it. But what you're saying is, deep inside yourself, okay, you know, and this is only between you and yourself, you know whether or not you agree with what Ziegler is doing, right? I can't, only you know the truth behind that. And what I'm asking is, does your truth support 100% what Ziegler is doing, or does your truth support what you advocate for, which is the kids? And I suggest if it's the latter, then, you know, you don't look like you've ever been a troublemaker. And I've never, you know, I'm not asking you to be a troublemaker. What I'm asking you to do is step outside your comfort zone just a little bit. Come on, you and I'll buy you dinner. We'll go to the school board meeting tonight and we'll say, look, we're not taking it. I'm here to defend this kid. This kid has done nothing wrong.
I understand, but I cannot do that.
So what can you do?
I have told you what the options are.
So well, there's really no options. You're saying she wears a mask or nothing.
That is, yes. And you have the right to appeal the suspension to the next level.
No, see, this I don't accept this. You know why? Because you never got back to me on my answers on how you justify suspending a girl when you parade around with that picture, that individual in the school. I don't care if he was not wearing a mask for 10 minutes or 10 hours, and Ziegler is standing behind him. This school system is full of hypocrites, and you know it. But you're not willing to stand up for the kids. A kid, I'm not asking all kids because it's only her. But you're not willing to do that. You're not willing to partner with the parent. I'm asking you to partner with me, and we know there's a lot wrong with this school system, and we're not going to fix everything. Why, I want another option besides not the platitudes, but the talking points that you've been given.
The option for you is to appeal the suspension, and that's all that I can offer.
But I don't accept this suspension because you guys handled it so poorly, right? It started here. So the reason I'm not going to appeal it, number one, is because it comes out of Ziegler's office. Ziegler's a joke. Number two, Doug Fulton reports to Ziegler. Doug Fulton's a joke. Number three, it started here. And you guys need to own up to it, and let's figure this out. She's been out now 5 days. So why don't we call it even and let her back in school?
I cannot do that.
You cannot do that.
No.
Why?
Because she's not going to wear a mask, so I cannot allow her to.
Let me ask you a question. You're wearing a mask.
I am.
But I notice you have a beard.
Yes.
Do you really think it's doing anything? No. We know, you and I both know it's not. And these are the games that we're having to play, and her education is suffering for it. You know that. I have nothing against
I have a
beards.
question. What's the difference between me coming in without a mask and some of my friends wearing it hanging from their ears below their noses? What's the difference between that?
When students are not wearing their mask correctly, they are reminded, and I'm sure that there are times when students are not wearing their mask correctly, but we do our best to ensure that they are.
But what's the difference? It's the same concept. It's off their face just like me, except I'm the only one that removes it completely. What's the difference other than that?
I understand students should be wearing their mask at all times, and we take action when we see it.
And if they most of them choose not to comply, but why don't you suspend them for not complying?
Students do comply, in my experience, students do comply if their mask is not being worn correctly, and I remind them they do.
I've been wearing my mask below my face this entire year. Not once has any teacher told me to pull it up, and I've never pulled it up. And I haven't been suspended until I completely removed it to my face. Can you explain that to me?
I cannot.
Do you see the problem we're having here? That there is no consistency. Like my daughter pointed out some very good points. And you don't have an answer, which I understand.
I understand. I do understand the frustration, and we do the best that we can to ensure that students are compliant and that they are.
You got a lot of students here,
We do.
And it's not easy to try to keep tabs on all of them.
I understand.
Am I wrong, or is it hard? I mean, to enforce what my daughter just was talking about, right? How can you possibly go around to the entire school to make sure everybody's wearing it, right?
I understand. Yes.
So she's one kid, and you're going to let her education suffer.
I'm sorry. That's the place that we are at.
This is where we're at. So we have some girl brutally raped last year. Kid transferred from this very school to another school, and he had more educational liberties than my daughter has. Does that make sense to you? It doesn't make any sense to me. You want to order a pizza? Do you want a pizza? I'll order a pizza.
I'm good, thank you, sir.
Okay. So what are we going to do here? So the only option is a mask.
Yes, sir.
Okay. How about a mask with a hole cut out right here?
I cannot do that, sir.
But you can let all these kids parade around.
What if I let it hang from my ear? Can I come back then?
No, you must wear a mask correctly.
Okay. Then how about you and I go walk around the school and look for every kid that's wearing it below their chin?
No, we're not going to do that, sir.
Do you want to call in the police to do it?
I do not.
How are we going to enforce this? How do we enforce this? Because this is actually pretty important. You just told my daughter she could not come back to school if she's wearing it around underneath her chin, right?
If we would ask her to wear it correctly.
Okay, so she comes in and then she puts it under her chin. What are you going to do?
We would ask her to wear it correctly.
Why don't you guys are targeting my daughter. I don't think you like me very much, but I think you're targeting my daughter as a result.
I'm not targeting anyone, sir.
All right. So what are we going to do? What's going to happen here? You going to work with us on this? Because this is absurd. Take a stand, Calvin. Take a stand. I'm not asking you to go rob a bank. I'm asking you to take a stand for one student. That's it. Partner with us. That's all we need. That's all we need is one person saying, look, I prefer to wear a mask, but I understand this person's right not to wear it, and I'm going to help defend her. That's what we're looking for. We're not looking to create a civil war. It's very simple.
I cannot do that.
You can't take a stand for one student out of 1,800 in the school or whatever it is.
I am following the school policies that have been set forth by the school board.
All right, so what do you want to do? You want to get some? Do you want to DoorDash?
Do you want to go somewhere?
No, we'll order it here. I mean, I'll order some food from Mr. Adams if you want
Oh.
some.
I'm good. I do have another meeting, so I can't stay here all day. But I'm telling you your options for appeal are, and I understand that do not like those.
Take a stand, Calvin. Take a stand and just say, I support this girl. Let me see what else I can do to help. That's all I'm asking, man. I'm not asking you to commit hara-kiri here. I'm asking you to side with the student because you told me in the beginning that you wouldn't be in this business if it wasn't for the caring about students and advocating for them. It's one kid. She's a good kid, and you don't know anything about her. I mean, because you got a lot of kids here, but she's a good kid. She's one student. How about taking a little bit of a gamble and a risk and saying, I'm going to try to help this girl beyond just the mask part? That's all I'm asking. I know I know it's policy. Haven't you ever lived a little dangerously, Calvin? I'm not asking for the world. I'm asking for some advocacy for my kid. There's not one person in this county, anybody, myself and my wife do not count. There's not one person in this school system that will advocate for a kid. You pay attention to the news? Have you seen these principals and all these other people that are not advocating for parents and students and stuff like that? Nobody's willing to do it. The news is so negative. How about making it positive? How about taking a stand and saying, you know what, I'm going to help support this kid. I'm going to do what I can besides compliance with like a sheep. Like, change the narrative, Calvin. Can you do that? You can't do that.
I will continue to advocate for children.
No, you
but
won't. No, you won't. It's under false premise. Here's the do or die moment for you, right? And I don't mean that literally. Like, there's one student out of how many in this school, and you just sat here and said you're going to continue to advocate for kids, but you're not going to advocate for this one.
That's not what I said.
Okay, so were you going to advocate for her?
I will continue to advocate for students, but I will also continue to follow the policies that have been put forth by the school.
Do you agree with every single policy this county has to offer?
This is not a discussion on my personal beliefs.
Sure it is. No. Okay, it's not personal belief. Do you, as an assistant principal, believe in every policy set forth within Loudoun County Public Schools? Every single one? Probably not. And you looking at the desk and shrugging your shoulders and doing your thing with your hands, body language tells me more than a lot that you might be able to say. And your body language is telling me, you wish you could say you agree with me, you wish you say you could help me or work with my daughter, but you're just not willing to do it. I know you're frustrated. How do you think we feel? And you're only dealing with one kid here that's been suspended.
I do understand your frustration. However,
There's always a however, there's always a but.
I will continue to follow the policies set forth.
Don't
So
care
I
about it.
cannot overturn the suspension.
Sure you can. Why can't we do it together? Why can't we take this negative media storm at Loudoun County Public Schools and make it positive and say, there was one guy, Calvin Adams, that stood up for one student and said, I'm gonna help her do the right thing. Every other principal and teacher and everything else you see in the media is very, very, very negative. Why not be that one person? Because it's only one kid. I'm not asking you to get a parade together.
I do understand your
Okay,
frustration.
here, you sound like a politician. Okay, you have a meeting?
I do. Can I walk you out?
No, I'm gonna sit here for a little bit.
Okay. I'll be
I'm
back.
very disappointed.
I
I'm very disappointed that you claim to be an advocate for all kids, but here I'm asking you for your help on one. And I'm not necessarily saying it's my way or the highway. but you're just falling in line with the rest of them, and you're not willing to see what else can be done. You're not willing to think outside the box. You're willing to follow the orders of Commander Ziegler, and you're not willing to think outside the box. And that's what I'm asking you to do, but I see you won't do that, so we're gonna sit here and eat some snacks.
Okay. I will be back.
So good.